What are you going to be this year, sir?
I really don't know what this is, but I've got something a whole lot scarier.
Let's see it.
Sure thing.
What's going on, America? My name is RT, aka RandumbTom, or the Arbiter, if you will. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm kind of like the new guy here on YouTube, and I wanted to talk about the thing involving Sweet Baby. Sweet Baby is one of these companies that work with gaming studios to incorporate, let's just say, certain messaging and certain diversity and inclusion inputs into certain games, and it's very apparent. It's insane the amount that I've seen on the internet. I just haven't got my chance to really cover it. The CEO here, Kim Belair, I wanted to kind of see where her mental framework is going behind these decisions that are being made, and I wanted to kind of understand the other side to see and give my input as to what I think. Hope you guys tag along with me, and we'll check it out.
This world where I didn't belong, and it's wild to think about. Like, I just created Nathan Drake, so it was like, go explore every game.
Nathan Drake is awesome.
But anyway, the first time that I actually made a black protagonist was in Mass Effect in 2010, and that felt really, really great. And I know that everyone at GDC has seen a lot about Mass Effect. So many talk about Mass Effect, so I think it's very important. But for anyone who's never played it, I'm just going to give you like a little rundown of the first playable area. Basically, your fully customized Commander Shepard has to enter a space station and rendezvous with two characters, Jacob Taylor and Miranda Lawson. But you meet Jacob first. And for those of you who don't know, Jacob is a black man. He's a Marine. And he's your first kind of like point of contact. So
I'm just going to say this before we go further. I know exactly what she is talking about, strangely enough. I really liked that scene. I'm really curious as to where she's going to go with this.
Your first interaction with him, you're like crouching behind cover and you're having like a close quarters conversation. And when this happened in the game, it was this really powerful and remarkable moment for me, because it was two black characters talking one-on-one.
For some reason, when these kinds of people talk about these things, there seems to be like this over concentration on race, and it's very weird. And you guys know what I'm talking about when they're like, it's this powerful moment, two black guys, powerful. It's so weird.
Two black characters talking one-on-one, and neither
See
of
what
them
I'm
is
saying?
cast as a criminal. They're not a sidekick, they're not a savage, they're not a stereotype, they're not a gang member. And they're the only two people on screen in this moment talking about something much greater than them.
Okay, I can
like,
respect that.
Really, really, really nice.
I can actually respect that.
I left off a really.
Given the way that black people are portrayed in the mainstream media, I can respect where she's coming from. I actually agree with her that it's better than being looked at as a thug or any of that. So okay, you got a point there.
But I was so happy about this moment that I actually took my phone out to text my white best friend.
See, there it is. There it is. Like, I'm gonna go text my white friend. Like, who thinks this way? Like, who talks this way? But I guess she's trying to do this to, I guess kind of roll in her point. Let's just see. Okay, whatever.
Really just cool to see this scene in this game. Can you believe it?
All right.
And I was halfway through the text when I realized, like, oh, she isn't gonna see that because her Shepard doesn't look the same as mine. But I texted.
Well, I think you're wrong on that. I think that she could fully understand that this moment between two black people is great. I don't agree with that.
Because I thought.
So you're saying just because she doesn't look like you that she can't understand the dynamic between two characters that are a different race? No, I think she can because she's human. But whatever.
You know what? I'm going to share this moment of joy for me, and she's my best friend, so she has to be happy about it.
She has to be.
And her response, while not surprising, was still very touching because she said, "I've never seen that either." And
has she not seen Good Times, The Jeffersons, Family Matters, Bernie Mac Show, My Wife and Kids? There are black shows that explore these relationships between black people. It's not that it doesn't exist and it hasn't existed until now. It's definitely out there.
Never seen that either. And holy moly, that's cool. And I told some other friends at that point. I was kind of like excited about it, and they weren't all black, these friends. They weren't all targeted by this moment that I had experienced, but they all felt the same thing when they heard me tell my story, when they heard that it was a new kind of term, and that the general idea was, holy moly, representation is cool.
I agree.
But
I literally, I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I love the idea of representation, but they always find a way to twist it in a way that's not what people want, or just in a way that's superficial. And And they usually do it to demean another group. Let's just see what you got to say. I think you guys get where I'm coming from.
And the kind of character in the Commander Shepard that you make. So I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if this wasn't an accident, but it was actually the intention of the game designers? What if they actually said, you know what? We're going to set out to create a moment of joy in people who look like this.
You know, I don't have a problem with this, as long as it's done well and naturally. As long as it doesn't take away from the story and it doesn't overshadow the story. And more importantly, it has to add something of value to the story, you know? And like, I think people realize that. They're like, why is this in here? Like, it really does not need to be in here. It's just inserted in here. I think that that's the biggest thing.
We can't keep looking at representation as like we're catering to a tiny little corner or like a direct marketing effort.
Yeah.
It's what everyone, I think, or hope wants as an audience.
I'm playing
And
devil's
stepping
advocate
back,
here.
It's not just, I don't just hope actually. I actually think, okay, we all do want this. And I think, you know, especially the people in this room can actively say, yeah, that's what we want to achieve.
I think
But
our
the question
intentions are
is
good,
begged,
but the
why
way
aren't
people
we
go
doing
about it is
this?
another thing.
Like, why, when we're talking about it, when we're so enthusiastic about it, what's stopping us? Like, why are we still being told, oh no, that's not what players want? Why do I keep hearing that it's like an uphill battle for people to bring representation to what should be a very inclusive environment of creativity?
That's because the way that you are going about this is not genuine, and people can feel it, and people don't like it. You're putting things in places where they don't necessarily need to exist. It's not that they shouldn't exist, it's just maybe they just need to be in a different medium.
And I think, you know, there are a lot of answers. There's the fact that, you know, the industry's stuck in its ways. The industry isn't as diverse as it should be or could be. We're all socialized.
What are you talking about? If you really truly want this diverse world, then make that diverse game. Make that your thing. But don't come into this world that's already been established, already has the backwork for what it's about, and then try to put something in there that doesn't naturally fit. And see, this is what's happening with the MCU. It was this thing, and this thing got great, but now they're changing it into something completely. It's not like it was this feminist story at first, and then it just blew up. It would be different if it started out as that thing and blew up, but no, you're changing it into something else. And people aren't going to be okay with that. But if you want to create diverse stories, then just do it. Nobody cares. Do it. We have a problem with inserting it in places that maybe it never was.
Despite the changing face of conferences like this one, we still look at our core demographics and say, okay, they're white,
People do
cis,
want different
hetero
things.
males, and we cater almost exclusively to them. And the problem is that we don't just cater to them like, you know, here's something that we think you'll enjoy. We cater to them the way that we cater to like a picky baby. We feed them the same thing that we know that they love, and we keep on feeding it. We're like, here you go, you love it, eat this, eat this, eat this.
Well, I have to disagree with you there. First of all, you're not dealing with babies. You're dealing with a market, and you're dealing with consumers. So I think that analogy of it is strictly just strewed way to. You're thinking about it completely wrong. You're dealing with a market, and you're dealing with adults. A lot of people are adults that play video games. You're dealing with teenagers, and you're dealing with people that actually buy and spend their money. It is in your interest to give them what they want. Now, do people want things that are different? Sure. But there has to be that respect there, because this is a transaction and you are giving something to a market here. So there has to be a respect. So calling, I think, the consumer base babies is not the way you want to go there. Just saying.
So that then when they get anything else, they react as a picky baby would, which is be like, oh no, thank you. I do not want this. And we've actually done this so long that what we're doing is creating an entire nation of picky babies. And they...
No, you have a nation of consumers that buy the things that they want to buy. And you do need money, so it would be in your best interest to listen to your market. They are not babies, they are consumers that buy products with their money. Their hard-earned money. And this is where this whole thing goes off the rails. Good intentions, but stuff like this is what we're talking about. This is where you lose people.
They make us scared to deviate from what we actually want to do, just in case these picky babies don't want to play our games.
Well, yeah, because then we won't buy your crap. And here's the thing. You don't have to listen to us. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But what also does not have to happen is that we as consumers do not have to buy your trash product. It's not the consumer's job to adjust to you. It's your job to adjust to your consumer. Or you can keep doing what you're doing and we'll see how that works out for you.
I think we need to step out of this rule that like white men can enjoy fantasy worlds, aliens, sci-fi, monsters, anything, so long as it's through a lens that looks exactly like them. Because if that's the kind of person that we're always going to cater to, you're never going to innovate. You're never going to change things. You're just going to keep feeding the picky baby.
I can
and we
kind of see your
cannot
point.
continue to try to create art under a system that is going to bar innovation for fear of a picky baby throwing a tantrum. And
There we go
I
again.
really don't think that it's impossible to change this, because as like a woman of color, I have played with and like empathized with a lot of white men. I have played as Kratos, who's like literally white. I've played as Nathan Drake. I've played as Arthur Morgan, and I've loved it. And I don't think
Yeah.
it's like pie in the sky thinking to go like, hey, maybe.
You know what's interesting? The people that have played these games have never complained about this. Like, I have played games all my life. I've never worried about a character being white or black. I just think that, hey, this is a really fun game. Look at like GTA 5, look at GTA San Andreas. Those games had black characters and nobody cared because it was genuinely a fun game. They weren't using like virtue signaling, first black man, diversity this, diversity that. They just said, hey, here's GTA 5. They showed us a badass kick-ass trailer. They didn't use any virtue signaling to say, hey, this is our game, buy it. And they never said, if you don't buy this game, you're a crybaby, you're a racist, sexist. Good story, good trailer, good characters, and badass gameplay. And no virtue signaling, because it sounds preachy. That's all people want. This isn't a socialism conference. It's a video game. And we just want to escape and have fun. That's it.
We can invite white dudes to play as other people and experience different things through someone else's eyes. And if they don't like it, we have to start thinking we're not losing. They're losing.
That's the mind frame that I'm talking about right there. What she just said, that is the problem. And yes, you are losing. The blatant arrogance. We'll just see how that works out for you.
Let them stand in the way of our progress and our innovation.
They're not going to stand in your way. They're just not going to buy your crap. And if you don't make money, you can't progress. See, her and the people that she works with, they remind me of a person called Icarus that got big-headed and thought that he knew better than everybody else. And guess what he did? He flew to the sun. And do you know what happened? That's what's going to happen to them. So we're not going to stand in your way. We're just going to let you fly to the sun.
And of our cast. And instead, we start to have to assume that players do want new stories, and that if we bring joy to our broad audience, it's going to encompass our core audience as well.
Wrong. You take care of your main fan base first. And if it's great, word of mouth will spread and everybody else will enjoy it too. You're supposed to market to your main audience, not the broader audience. And the broader audience that you think that you're catering to, it's yourself.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want. Because they have to consider, like, I say that out as a joke, but it's actually very, very true, because if you start to consider the people who are player and audience facing and who have to deal with mitigating harm and with keeping the sentiment around their game and their project positive, there's like a genuine value that you can impress upon them with both ethically and financially. You can say this is important.
So that's how they doing it. Yeah, you don't put this shit in your game, you ain't making no paper. You ain't getting that check. I see what you're playing. It's a dirty game. That's a dirty game. But guess what? But how does it end? That's the question. This is disgusting. It really is. It's really disgusting.
Also a valid discussion to have, because if you're working with a very thin narrative budget and you work in AAA, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised or dismayed by the amount of money that marketing can give you. I would say that you should consider adding the necessary funds for representation into your scope as you would any other item. Finally, if you're a studio building a team, hire diverse creators and pay them. Please pay them. And don't stop there either. Don't just go into...
Hire diverse creators. Diversity should not be the first thing you think about when hiring somebody. The first thing I would think about when hiring somebody is, can they do the job and are they able to do it well? Do you have a skill set? Do you have the qualifications to perform? And the problem with media and the problem with these movies and video games is that we are hiring people that probably don't have the qualifications. And they're probably definitely not passionate about the projects that they're coming onto. And I can almost guarantee that the people that they're hiring at places like this have to think a certain way and believe a certain way, or at least pretend to think that way. But where's the diversity in that, right? True diversity is the diversity of thought. When you go into these places and you disrespect the people, the fans there, you get what you fucking deserve. They have Sweet Baby Detected on this group in Steam. It's getting like a whole bunch of people joining it. It's like 100-something thousand people subscribe to it. It is what it is. Anyway, I hope you guys like what I have to say. Please like, comment, and share. Fuck, man. Cut the camera off, man.